Welcome back, everybody, to jurisq.com podcast. This is Michael Oliveris. I'm your host, and I'm here with Daniel Minc, a top-notch premier personal injury attorney in New York City from a very legendary firm of Rosenberg, Minc, Falkoff, and Wolff. Dan, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
In our previous session, we introduced you, and I was just so impressed with your accomplishment. Your personal and your firm's 100 years tradition of fighting for injured persons in New York City. You were named in many different magazines. You showed me a cover from Top Wars 2022, personal injury attorneys, very impressive. We saw you on the cover, and you are a great asset for us to educate the public. And now I want to get into more FAQs, the questions people usually ask that are practical, because we're here to educate, to give practical advice to people who were involved in any kind of incidents involving personal injury. And here is the question that many people search online that we want to answer. If you were injured in a car accident in New York City, what are the top things to do immediately after? Of course, calling 911. That's always a priority. Get medical help. What else should you do to preserve your rights?
Well, those are the obvious things. You're going to call for help. A lot of times the other driver might say, oh, let's not call the police. Let's not do anything. Well, that's not wise. You really should try to get the police there and try to get a police report, number one. And if you think you're hurt, don't be a hero and say, oh, I'll deal with it later. You have to get in that ambulance and go and get checked out by the emergency room to document it. Because if you do not document it, if you fail to document it, it gives the insurance company a chance to say, oh, that you weren't injured at all, and now you're making it up. It gives them an out, and you don't want to have that hurdle. So it's better if you document your injury then, right at the time. Okay. If you tell the police officer, I'm not injured, well, that's not a great thing, because then you're fighting your way back into a claim. So if you think you're injured, if you feel you're injured, say you're injured.
Right, don't be shy.
If your back hurts, say your back hurts. If your knee hurts, say your knee hurts, even if it hurts a little bit, because it can get swollen, it can get worse, it can develop into something chronic. But if you do not report it at all, we have this battle all the time where the insurance company always cross-examines the client, says, you didn't say a word about this injury. So please report it, number one. Number two, get your cell phone out, take a picture of the other car.
Yes.
Take a picture of the location of the cars. If you feel the other driver's been negligent, been at fault, take a picture of their license plate. That helps. Take a picture of their driver's license.
So be proactive.
At the time, if you're capable of doing it, it depends on injury, but all of these little things make the investigation so much easier. Okay. Of course, the question is, what about the injury? I've been talking about just mechanics of filing a claim or making sure there's a claim. So you're getting medical treatment, either you're going to go to the emergency room or you're going to go to a physician, you're going to report your injuries. Who's going to pay? Well, that's an interesting question in New York. Who's going to pay? People don't realize it. Clients never realize it. The only one that will pay in New York is your automobile company. Okay, you could have the best health insurance. You could have GHI, or you could have Blue Cross, or you could have Aetna. You could have any type of health insurance, but the minute they hear from the records, when the nurse or the hospital says automobile accident, they reject the claim. Beware. Your health insurance carrier under New York law is not obligated to pay for automobile accident health-related injury claims. Okay. So every motor vehicle in the state of New York has a $50,000 medical policy attached to it, and or if you've bought additional coverage, but that's the minimum, 50,000. So what does that mean? That means that it's called no fault.
Right.
And anyone in the car is entitled to it, but you have to call your insurance company. You have to notify them. People go, I don't want to call my insurance company. They were at fault. No, look, if it's your car, call your insurance company, tell them you've been injured, and let's see what they say. They will send you a no-fault form.
And then who fills out that form? Does the client, or can you help the client? Or
the client must sign it, but we can fill it out with the client. If you are our client, we will walk you through it. It's a simple form, but we will help you answer the questions, sign it, and make sure it gets back to the insurance carrier within 30 days. Don't delay. There are limitations of time. Why is this important? People think, oh, I have health insurance. Yeah. And then 3 months later, finally, they get a rejection of the bill from Blue Cross. And Blue Cross says, well, you were involved in a car accident. Go to no fault. You go, well, I didn't call no fault. And now the time limit's up and you get into a jam. So you have to notify your insurance carrier about so-called no fault in New York State. So no fault is good in a way. It provides $50,000 of medical benefits and lost earnings. But in addition to that, there's no cost to the consumer, to the injured party. There's no deductible.
That's part of the premium that's being paid for the car.
Part of the premium that you pay, it applies to your passengers. Your passengers are covered by no fault. It even applies if you're a pedestrian, okay, and you're hit by a car. No fault will pay the bills, okay?
But you said it's only up to 50,000. What happens if it's more than 50,000? Your medical expenses?
Oh, well, now that's a perfect question, Michael. So now you're getting into more sophisticated arguments and issues. What happens is the first 50,000 is covered by no fault.
Okay.
If you bought supplemental insurance, which is available, and I mean, personally, I have supplemental insurance. Many people do not. It means that you might have what's called higher limits. So you might have more than 50,000. You could buy 100,000. You could buy 150,000. Otherwise, after the 50, your Blue Cross or your medical plan will come and pay. But they will not pay the first 50.
Understood. So after you exhaust the 50, you go to your personal health insurance plan.
Yes.
Or Medicaid, Medicare, what have you.
Right. Then the hospital will notify you, you've run out of no fault.
I see.
Okay. Go to Medicaid, go to Blue Cross, do something. We help you through that. And the bills are then sent to your health care provider. Now, if you're a pedestrian and you don't have a car, so you wouldn't have a no-fault policy, your bills will be paid by the car that hit you. So that's also important. So what should you do? You should first, if you're injured, you must establish a no-fault claim if you're injured for your medical. Get the advice of an attorney, call your insurance carrier. But when you call your insurance carrier, don't give them details about how the accident happened.
That's smart.
You're not obligated to do that. You need an attorney to discuss it with you. You're entitled to an attorney to discuss it with you. But you do want to give them the fact that I was in an accident last night at this location. This is what I know about it. But you don't have to say, I stopped short, they stopped short, they cut me off, I cut me off.
You know, we all heard that in Law and Order shows. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of law. That's in criminal case, but also the same thing in the civil case, in the personal injury case, right?
Absolutely, because they may be recording the conversation. Insurance companies often do record the conversation. So it brings me to another point. If you're in an automobile accident, we're going to get the police report. The other side's going to get the police report. Tell the officer your best version of what happened. I mean,
Right.
you feel you're in the right, say it.
Mhm.
Okay? You feel the other side is negligent, make sure you say it. When you go to the hospital, they'll also ask you what happened.
Right.
So you have to be careful about what you're saying in the hospital if you're injured. You can say, I'm injured, I was in a car accident, of course, but you don't have to give details about how it happened. Okay? Because it will be recorded. It will be written down.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, insurance companies are there not to pay. So they're going to do their best to fight your claim. They're going to use your words against you. They may even twist your words against you. That's why you are so right. These are golden words of wisdom. Do not volunteer too much information, right?
Absolutely. You know, you want to get an attorney, you're going to need an attorney. So do you need an attorney if you're injured? Absolutely. Okay? Because the insurance companies are not in the business of handing you out what you deserve.
Exactly.
Okay? Look, I give you an example. I mean, we have cases that have almost no offer. I'll give you an example. I tried a case, last trial. A motorcyclist and a bus, okay, collide. My guy's a passenger on a motorcyclist. At the beginning of the trial, there wasn't even an offer. He had fractures. He was badly hurt.
And there was no offer for fractures.
No.
That's crazy.
They said, we're not responsible. The bullshit, we're not responsible. We're not responsible. Try the case, get into the case. They offer $100,000. I go, $100,000? Come on, get real. You know, maybe we take $1 million, but we're not taking $100,000. Get real. No, 100,000. So you have to fight. Go to the jury, try the entire case, 5.4 million, and guess what? They don't want to pay. They don't want to pay. Transit doesn't want to pay. They appeal it. Go through a full appeal. Appeals court says, pay Rosenberg Minc. Pay him $5.4 million. Pay it. We got paid for the client. So the client starts out with very little offer, maybe 100,000 offer during the trial, winds up with 5.4 million. So
great result.
So what do you do if you're injured? Back to your question, I've said. Document it, state what hurts, get treatment, get a lawyer, get no fault. Okay? Don't discuss the details. But seek medical help. Okay? So,
Daniel.
no fault. I will add one thing, no fault. So people think, oh, who's going to take no fault? Right? No fault. I mean, where do I find a doctor who'll take no fault? They're falling all over themselves, take no fault. I mean, you're not gonna get maybe some very exclusive physicians. They don't even want insurance at all. So you can't argue about that. There are physicians that don't want any insurance. They go, hey, I want 20 grand cash. I want $20,000 check. You want surgery with me? You know, like a cosmetic surgeon, an orthopedic surgeon, and others, plenty of them.
Of course.
Hey, welcome. Here I am.
Absolutely.
So there's plenty of physicians at this time available with no fault, plenty of physical therapy places, plenty of orthopedic surgeons. We can help. We can get you there. They all, many want it. And so there's no problem getting the medical care. There's more to talk about, but that's the general idea, those principles. Number one, document it. Number two, document your injuries. Number three, get medical care, seek medical care. Number four, file your no fault. Number five, make sure you get an attorney and consult. It's free. There's no charge. I mean, we don't charge.
It's not only, Daniel, about going to an attorney, about what kind of attorney. And it makes a big difference if you have actual hands-on litigation experience and verdicts and wins behind you, because then you look very credible in front of the opposing party, in front of the jury, and ultimately in front of the judge, because you have that experience and success stories to rely upon. And Daniel, Minc, you do have that, and that's why we're so glad to have part of our network. And we here give practical advice, because we're here to educate, so that, you know, God forbid, you get into a car accident, you begin to go back, what did I hear from Dan Minc? What did he say about my necessary steps? So that was very important, educational. I thank you for your time.
Michael, I'll say this. We've been here for 100 years. We're not looking for a quick buck, okay? We're here to get the client what they deserve. That takes work,
Yes.
okay? We have to beat the insurance companies down. They are not going to volunteer their money. You're going to need help, whether it's our law firm or another law firm. Get solid, credible, experienced legal help.
Absolutely. These are very, very wise last words of today's session. Again, I thank you for your time. And I want to reiterate, whatever we're discussing today, that's just general advice. If you want specific advice about your case, about your situation, your injury, your accident, you have to call an attorney. And one such attorney is Dan Minc of Rosenberg, Minc, Falkoff, and Wolff. The phone number is on the bottom of the screen. Don't be shy. Call. Consultation is free. Thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. And we're going to come back very shortly with more questions on personal injury from Daniel Minc. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.